Today, we're diving into a delicious mystery that plagues fruit lovers everywhere. How do you pick a ripe, sweet mango? You know the struggle, right? You're standing in the grocery store, looking at a mountain of mangoes, all different colors, shapes, and sizes. You tentatively pick one up, maybe give it a little squeeze, sniff around, and still end up with a mango that's either rock hard and bland or mushy and stringy. It's so frustrating, and honestly, a bit of a waste of money when you're hoping for that perfect tropical sweetness. Most of us have been taught to squeeze a mango to check for ripeness, right? We're looking for that slight give. But here's the thing, squeezing actually does more harm than good. Not only does it risk bruising the delicate flesh of the mango, especially if it's already ripe, but it's also not the most accurate indicator. A firm mango isn't necessarily unripe. Some varieties are naturally firmer even when perfectly sweet. And a soft spot could just be a bruise from handling, not a sign of uniform ripeness. There's a much more effective and gentler way. Another common misconception is that skin color tells you everything. Many people look for a bright red or yellow blush, thinking that's the ultimate sign of ripeness. And while some varieties do turn vibrant colors when ripe, it's absolutely not a universal rule. Different mango varieties mature with completely different skin colors. Take an Atulfo mango, it turns deep golden yellow. A Tommy Atkins might have a lot of red, but a Kent often stays mostly green even when perfectly ripe. So, relying on color alone is a surefire way to get confused and pick an unripe mango, or worse, pass over a perfectly sweet one just because it doesn't look ripe enough to your eyes. So, if we're not squeezing and we're not relying on color, what are we looking for? The secret, my friends, is hidden right at the stem end of the mango. Yes, that little nub where it was attached to the tree. This often ignored part holds all the clues you need to unlock a mango's true ripeness. It's like a secret language that expert fruit vendors in places like Brazil, Thailand, and Mexico read in seconds, without ever needing to squeeze a single fruit. They know the trick, and today, you're going to learn it too. We're going to transform you into a mango-picking master. Let's dive into the first big clue at the stem end. When you pick up a mango, look closely at where the stem used to be. For a perfectly ripe mango, you want to see a stem end that is slightly rounded and protruding outwards. It should almost look like a little belly button that's popping out a bit. This rounded, full appearance is a strong indicator of peak sugar content and ripeness inside. On the flip side, if the stem end looks flat, sunken, or even concave, that mango is likely still unripe and hasn't had a chance to fully develop its delicious sweetness. It's a quick, visual tell. Once you've checked the visual cue of the stem end, it's time to bring in your nose. This is probably one of the most reliable indicators. Gently bring the stem end of the mango up to your nose and take a good sniff. A perfectly ripe mango will emit a strong, sweet, fruity, and sometimes slightly tropical aroma from this spot. It should smell delicious, almost like you can taste it already. If you smell nothing, or if it has a faint, grassy, or even sour smell, it's not ready. This scent is the mango's way of telling you, I'm bursting with flavor and ready to be enjoyed. It's wild how clear the signal is when you know to look for it. Beyond the stem end, let's talk about the shoulders of the mango. These are the areas just below the stem, where the mango starts to curve outwards. For a truly ripe mango, you want to see full, rounded shoulders. They should feel plump and well developed, creating a smooth, generous curve down from the stem. This indicates that the fruit has had plenty of time on the tree to fully mature and fill out. In contrast, an unripe mango will often have sharper, more sloping shoulders. They might look a bit angular or not as filled out. This visual cue, combined with the stem end and scent, creates a powerful ripeness trifecta. Let's do a quick visual comparison to make sure these concepts are clear. Imagine you have two mangoes side by side. The ripe one will have that lovely rounded, slightly protruding stem end, coupled with full, plump shoulders that curve gently downwards. When you sniff its stem, you'll get that irresistible sweet, fruity aroma. Now, look at the unripe one. Its stem end will likely be flat or even sunken, its shoulders will be sharper, perhaps sloping more dramatically, and when you sniff it, you might get very little scent at all, or something a bit grassy. C. No squeezing needed, just keen observation. While we're talking about visual cues, there's one more to watch out for: wrinkling. Now, a little bit of wrinkling can sometimes mean a mango is perfectly ripe, especially in certain varieties like Atolfos. But be careful, if you see significant wrinkling, particularly around the stem end, it often means the mango is actually overripe or past its prime. It might still be sweet, but the texture could be mushy, stringy, or even fermented tasting. You want that sweet spot between perfectly firm and slightly soft, not shriveled. A mango with too many wrinkles is usually one that's been sitting around for a bit too long, losing its moisture. This isn't just theory, folks. This is how it's done in mango-rich regions around the world. Picture a bustling fruit market in Mexico, Thailand, or Brazil. The vendors there handle hundreds, if not thousands, of mangoes a day. They don't have time to gently squeeze every single one, nor would they want to risk bruising their precious fruit. Instead, they quickly glance at the stem end, check the shoulders, and give a quick sniff. It's an ingrained skill, a second nature. They can tell you with incredible accuracy which mango is at its peak ripeness in mere seconds. This isn't magic, it's simply understanding the clear signals the fruit provides, signals that supermarkets often obscure. Now, here's a real-world challenge: supermarkets. Often, they pack mangoes tightly in bins or stack them in ways that make it hard to get a good look at the stem end. Sometimes the stem is facing down, or it's tucked away. This is where you might have to be a little patient and gently rearrange a few mangoes to get a clear view. Don't be afraid to pick up a few, inspect them, and then place them back carefully if they don't meet your ripeness criteria. You're looking for that optimal angle to see the stem and smell that fruity fragrance. It takes a little more effort, but trust me, it's worth it for a perfectly ripe mango. Alright, let's put it all together into a simple, actionable checklist you can use on your next grocery run. This is your new mango picking strategy. First, ditch the squeeze test completely. Second, ignore the skin color. It's a distraction. Instead, focus on these 3 key indicators. 1. Examine the stem end for a rounded, protruding shape. 2. Give that stem end a good sniff for a strong, sweet, fruity aroma. And 3. Check for full, rounded shoulders just below the stem. If you hit all 3, you've found yourself a winner. It really is that straightforward once you know what you're looking for. You'll be a mango whisperer in no time. Like any new skill, becoming a mango master takes a little practice. The first few times, you might feel a bit slow as you meticulously check each mango. But trust me, after a few trips to the store, these visual and olfactory cues will become second nature. You'll develop an eye for that perfect stem, a nose for that irresistible scent, and a feel for those plump shoulders. Soon enough, you'll be zipping through the produce aisle, confidently selecting the sweetest mangoes, leaving behind the unripe duds and avoiding the overripe mush. Your taste buds will thank you, and you'll wonder why you ever did it any other way. So, you've picked your perfectly ripe mango. What now? If you plan to eat it within a day or 2, you can store it at room temperature on your counter. But if you want to extend its shelf life, a ripe mango can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 5 days. The cool temperature will slow down the ripening process significantly. Just be sure to eat it before it starts to get overly soft or develops any significant dark spots. And if you have too many ripe mangoes, they freeze beautifully. Just peel, cube, and store in an airtight bag for smoothies or desserts later. Enjoy your hard-earned perfect mango. Why is this stem-end method so effective when color and squeezing aren't? It all comes down to the mango's biology. The stem end is where the fruit received nutrients from the tree. As a mango ripens, sugars accumulate, and the fruit literally swells. This swelling pushes the stem area outwards and creates those rounded shoulders. The volatile aromatic compounds that give mango its sweet smell also concentrate and are most easily released from this vulnerable stem point. So, you're not just looking at superficial qualities, you're observing direct physiological signs of maturity and sugar development, which are far more reliable than just skin-deep appearance. So there you have it. The true secret to picking the ripest, sweetest mangoes without ever squeezing them. Forget what you thought you knew about color and firmness. Focus on the stem end, its protrusion, its fragrance, and those full, rounded shoulders. This simple shift in perspective will change your mango picking game forever, I promise you. No more disappointment, just pure, tropical bliss with every bite. Now you're equipped with the knowledge of seasoned fruit vendors. Go forth, pick your perfect mangoes, and enjoy the delicious rewards.